What is the single greatest threat to capitalism? The greatest threat to capitalism is the failure to distribute the wealth it creates equitably among the stakeholders who helped create the wealth. There are many ways to distribute wealth equitably without resorting to governmental redistribution, including broad-based employee ownership through vehicles like profit-sharing plans, stock grants, stock options, synthetic equity programs, profit-based current compensation, cooperatives and ESOPs. The populist assault on capitalism, our most effective tool for wealth creation, was created and is stoked by the greed of a limited number of owners. It has nothing to do with the competitive structure of the business system itself. This is not just a theory. At least 12% of the U.S. workforce, including people at every compensation level, now participate in employee ownership. Rigorous studies show consistently that employee-owned businesses perform better by a number of important metrics than businesses that are not employee-owned. Just as capitalism allows for its own destruction by the concentration of wealth, it also allows for its own strength and legitimacy by the distribution of wealth through ownership. We simply need to take advantage of the opportunity. Greed-driven cruelty and inhumanity. Or what I like to call over-optimization. As Smith pointed out, the motivation to push things too far constantly beckons in business. Society and business are social constructs. Every business has a reputation. Every dead person has relatives with memories. Enemies are easily made and are very slow to dissipate. Mothers teach babies about bad corporate citizens. Songs are written, pictures are painted, so one need not be literate to pass on the tales. My native grandmother taught us to secretly resist Mormons, Ford, Coors and Andrew Jackson, among others. She always asked for 4 5s to replace every 20. In programming, there is a similar force called tech debt, and if allowed to build, it will end you. It builds like greenhouse gases. In capitalism, social debt brings on over-optimization retaliation. In behavioral economics, we know people are not homo economicus. Social reputation is a second currency. When businesses, through manipulations, monopoly, poor value propositions and elimination of choice create a social debt, retaliation may be the result. Ask EA and Comcast. Then, people will spend their own real currency to inflict harm upon the bad community members and for it, earn social currency. It is exactly the inverse of customer loyalty and is not earned by beads, airline miles or reward cards. Grandmother considered it coup. A Native American concept similar to face. Coup was earned by unflinching bravery before an enemy, even at great risk to yourself. The ultimatum game demonstrates this threshold of retaliation perfectly. Nationalism. Capitalism by its very nature wants to expand to encompass the entire world, as it's the best way to make this system as successful and profitable as possible. Corporations' banks dislike borders and division of any kind that could restrain their profit-making abilities, while nationalism tends to turn the country inward in service of citizens and their cultures. The corporate class also wants to import to the country as many migrants as humanly possible for cheap labor, while ignoring the native workers and changing the location of their business to a foreign country if they determine that they can increase their profits that way. Globalism is so central to their flourishment that they lobby tens of billions of dollars to the Congress and the presidential candidates to be allowed to be able to do these things. Nationalism seeks to put the highest percentage of populace of the country in a better position than anyone else, which hinders corporate agenda of unlimited mass immigration and outsourcing. A balance between capitalism and nationalism is attempted in a country, as a country moving towards extreme end of either ideology or system can have unsavory effects. So these two systems are two plates in a weighing machine, where increase in weight in one decreases that in the other. The betterment of one system requires worsening of another system. The main political battle going on in the West these days is between these competing interests.